Colonel Naomi Carter stood in the doorway of the old coastal farmhouse, with her hand wrapped around a cold coffee mug, when her family told her she had 48 hours to leave. The order came from her own parents. Her mother delivered it with a calm smile that never reached her eyes. Her father stood beside her like the decision had already been approved and filed. And her younger sister, Chloe, leaned against the counter wearing the smug expression of someone who thought victory was already guaranteed. "You've stayed here long enough," her mother said. "The house needs to go to someone building a future," Chloe added. Her father folded his arms. "Friday, be out by Friday." The house had belonged to Naomi's grandparents. The same grandparents she had cared for during the hardest years of their lives. The same grandparents everyone else seemed too busy to visit. What her family expected was resistance, tears, arguments, begging. Instead, Colonel Naomi Carter simply nodded. "Okay." Then she walked away. Behind her, Chloe laughed softly. They thought she had surrendered. They had no idea she had already won. Because Naomi knew something they didn't. She knew what was waiting inside the wall safe upstairs. She knew why her grandfather had stopped worrying during the final weeks of his life. And she knew that when they opened that safe, everything they believed belonged to them would disappear. 3 years earlier, while serving as a logistics officer in the Army Reserve and completing graduate studies, Naomi became the primary caregiver for her grandparents. Her grandmother's memory faded first. Missed appointments, forgotten names, tea left boiling on the stove. Then came the diagnosis everyone feared. While her grandmother declined, Naomi drove hundreds of miles between military obligations, school, and the farmhouse. She filled prescriptions, managed bills, coordinated nurses, maintained the property. She was there for every difficult day. Her parents rarely appeared. There was always a business trip, a fundraiser, a social event, some excuse. Chloe was worse. She treated the house like a future investment. One afternoon she showed up, took photos beside the garden, posted them online with a caption about family values, then left before dinner. Naomi never forgot the expression on her grandfather's face as he watched it happen. He said nothing, but he noticed everything. When Naomi's grandmother passed away, her grandfather changed. Grief sharpened him. One evening he looked at Naomi and quietly said, "They're not waiting for me to get better." He stared toward the hallway. "They're waiting for me to be gone." Naomi didn't argue, because she knew he was right. A week later he asked her to drive him into town. They visited a local attorney named Ethan Rowe, a former Army JAG officer who had spent decades handling estates and trusts. Inside that office, Naomi learned the truth. Years earlier, her grandparents had created a traditional will, but her grandfather no longer trusted it. He had watched who showed up and who didn't. He had watched who cared about people and who cared about property. That day he established an irrevocable trust. The farmhouse would belong to the trust. Naomi would serve as sole trustee. No one could force a sale. No one could pressure her into surrendering control. No one could take the house away. Naomi looked at him. "They'll hate me." The attorney didn't even glance up. People who feel entitled to something always call boundaries unfair. Her grandfather signed. The documents were notarized, the trust became official, and nobody in the family knew. After he passed away, Naomi quietly finalized everything. Then she waited, because Ethan believed something important. People reveal their true intentions when they think you're powerless. He was right. So Naomi prepared the wall safe. Inside she placed copies of the trust, legal confirmations, a recorded message from her grandfather, and one handwritten note, a single sentence. If you opened the safe looking for something to take, then you already know why you were left out. Then she waited. When her family ordered her out by Friday, she packed a few boxes for appearances. She carried them into a guest room, made it look convincing. Meanwhile, she documented everything, every call, every text, every threat. Her mother called pretending to be concerned. Her father tried to sound reasonable. Chloe sent photos of kitchen renovations she wanted for the farmhouse. Not one of them asked what Naomi wanted. Not one. By Friday afternoon, the sky hung gray over the water. At exactly 5 o'clock, they arrived. Confident, smiling. Her father immediately asked for the safe key. Naomi pointed towards the study. "Top drawer. Same place it's always been." The study smelled of cedar and old paper. Her father unlocked the safe. The door clicked open. For 1 second, nobody moved. Then everything changed. He pulled out the first page. "Read it." Went pale. Her mother grabbed the papers. "Read them twice." Then a third time. Chloe opened the envelope. Her hands began shaking. The trust documents, the legal confirmations, the recorded statement, the note, all of it. The room transformed. Confidence vanished. Control vanished. The future they imagined vanished. Finally, her mother looked at Naomi. Not angry. Afraid. Real fear. "What did you do?" Naomi met her eyes. I followed Grandpa's instructions. The silence that followed felt endless. Chloe insisted it had to be a mistake. Her father searched every page for a loophole. There wasn't one. 10 minutes later they left, defeated. And then the panic began. Calls, voicemails, messages, threats disguised as concern. Please call us. We need to discuss this. Don't do anything else. Naomi answered none of them. Instead she saved everything, because years in uniform had taught her something simple. Documentation beats emotion, every time. Soon the story spread through town. Her mother tried presenting herself as the victim. Friends called Naomi selfish, greedy, unreasonable, exactly as Ethan predicted. So Naomi built a file, every text, every voicemail, every email. Then Chloe made a mistake. She accidentally forwarded a conversations discussing plans to host an engagement celebration at the farmhouse before selling it the following year. Selling it, there it was, the truth. Not preserving family history, not honoring grandparents, selling the property. Then another message arrived. If she won't cooperate, push the dead angle. Dead angle. That phrase changed everything. Ethan investigated. Carefully, legally, and soon the picture became clear. Naomi's father's business was struggling. Debt was mounting. The farmhouse wasn't a family dream. It was a financial lifeboat. Chloe was merely the cover story. When persuasion failed, the lawsuit arrived. Her parents challenged the trust. They accused Naomi of manipulating her grandfather, claimed he lacked capacity, claimed she abused her position as caregiver. The accusations hurt. Not because they were believable, because they came from family. Ethan remained calm. They want you emotional. Naomi nodded. Military discipline took over. She prepared organized evidence, built timelines, created binders, collected witness statements. The hearing arrived on a cold Thursday morning. The courtroom felt quiet, dangerously quiet. Her parents sat together. Chloe wore an expression of practiced innocence. Their attorney painted Naomi as unstable, overwhelmed, emotionally compromised, someone unfit to manage valuable property. Then Ethan stood and presented facts, not opinions, facts, dates, records, documents, nursing statements, care logs, travel records, repair invoices, every hour Naomi spent caring for her grandparents, every responsibility she carried. Then came the witness statement from the home nurse. She confirmed what everyone already knew. Naomi was the only family member consistently present. Then Ethan played the recording. The courtroom filled with her grandfather's voice. Old, weak, perfectly clear. I am not confused. Silence. I know exactly what I am doing. More silence. I am protecting this house from people who see it as money. Naomi looked at her parents. Neither could meet her eyes. Then Ethan revealed Chloe's emails, the renovation plans, the sale discussions, the debt messages, layer after layer, greed, intent, motive. Finally, he questioned Naomi's father. At first the answers were careful, controlled. Then Ethan asked one simple question. Were you under financial pressure when you attempted to gain control of the property? Her father dodged. Ethan asked again. More directly. The pressure built. Then came the mistake, the sentence that destroyed everything. We only needed her to stop being selfish long enough to sign. Silence filled the courtroom. Total silence. The judge looked up. So did every person in the room. Because in one sentence he admitted the truth. This had never been about protecting family. It had always been about controlling Naomi. The ruling came shortly afterward. The trust remained valid. The challenge failed, completely. The court recognized Colonel Naomi Carter as sole trustee. The judge found no evidence of manipulation. Instead, she noted overwhelming proof that Naomi had been the primary caregiver and steward of the property. Then she addressed her family's conduct. The attempted eviction, the pressure campaign, the legal harassment. Her parents were ordered to pay a significant portion of Naomi's legal fees. Restrictions were placed on future contact. The case was over, her mother cried. Not because she lost a daughter, because she lost control. Chloe looked stunned. The fantasy had collapsed, and her father looked smaller than Naomi had ever seen him. A week later, Naomi drove home. The farmhouse stood exactly where it always had. Stone walls, weathered porch, ocean wind. Nothing about it looked victorious. And that was what made it beautiful. She unlocked the door, walked inside, put water on for tea, then carried her grandfather's old mug to the back porch, the same porch where he'd taught her lessons about integrity, about character, about truth. She sat quietly and looked across the water. For a long time she thought victory would feel dramatic. It didn't. It felt peaceful. Because she hadn't won by being louder. She hadn't won by being cruel. She hadn't won through revenge. She won because she stayed. When caring became difficult, when nobody was watching, when there was nothing to gain, she stayed. Her family believed blood guaranteed loyalty. Her grandfather understood something better. Character reveals loyalty, not words, not promises, actions. The people who showed up when life became inconvenient. Those were the people who mattered. The evening sun settled across the porch boards. A gull cried somewhere near the shoreline. The house remained quiet, and for the first time in years, Naomi felt something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Freedom. They thought she had nothing, but she had discipline, evidence, preparation, the truth. And when the moment finally arrived, that was everything.